This morning, I got a request for advice on how to do a Joe Dispenza meditation in the best way and how to get the most out of it. And it was such a good question. I wanted to come on here and talk about those meditations because there's so many people who are trying to do those Joe Dispenza meditations and it doesn't work. And what I want to talk about today are just a couple of small tweaks that you can make that will actually fix that process. Because I'm a big believer in Joe Dispenza meditations. I love them. I went to a week-long retreat and I know the value of really sinking into those meditations and what immersing yourself into that world can do for you. But most people actually miss the entire point of what those meditations are all about. Even when you've read all the books, all of his books, I've read all of them. They still don't go into the why are we doing this and what are we actually trying to achieve out of it. And those are some really critical points to know. So today I'm going to try and explain that in really simple terms because I think that's often where people get really confused is it's trying to get too complicated and too detailed. So it's important to boil it back to the really simple principles that we're trying to work with. So, what we're going to talk about today is what to do before the meditation, what to do during the meditation, and what to look for after the meditation to know that it's working. So, the first thing first, before the meditation, all of our spiritual work is guided by intention. And that's really important because when we go in with a wrong intention, we are going to get that intention back in. That is the law of attraction. People say that you've got to put good energy out and you get good energy back. That is actually not how the law of attraction works. Our intention, what we want, is exactly what comes back to us. So we've got to be very clear with our intention. What is it that we are trying to do? Many people will go out there and they will try to create something, especially when it's an abundance meditation. I want to create abundance in my life. Here's where I'm going to bring a little bit of Alan Watts, a little bit of Abraham Hicks, and a little bit of science together. Because our intention is not actually to create physically. We do not in a meditation build anything with our hands, with our physical 3D reality. We create with our mind, with our intention. And mind isn't just our brain. Mind is our greater being, our soul. And so when we are creating at that level, we are not creating from a 3D physical self. And so often people will sit in meditation and they'll go, oh, I have to figure out a way of how to create abundance in my life. The intention should actually be, what is the abundance that is right for me? What do I need to know to tap into something that is right for me? Because when we're operating from the 3D reality, the physical person that we are here on this 3D world, we're actually operating from within our limits. We're creating from within what we've always known in the past. And this is what Dr. Joe talks about when he says we've got to be bigger than ourselves. How are we bigger than ourselves? We're bigger than our 3D containers. We have to be tapping into something that is bigger than us, that has that information already. And that part of us is our soul. So for us to create what we want is actually the wrong thing because it's operating from the limited version of ourselves. And so our intention should be about finding the information that needs to come to us for us to open up to something greater than what we can even imagine for ourselves. Because here is my promise to you, our souls always have more than we could ever imagine for ourselves. Our limited mind is exactly that. It's very limited. Our soul knows what it is that we truly want and what is possible for us. I know this by looking at people's soul contracts. What people have intended for their life as their goals is way bigger than the experiences that they've had in the past. But they base everything based on this is what I've had in the past. And even when you try and multiply that by 10 or by 20, it's still not what your soul has in mind for you. This is where Abraham Hicks comes in. Abraham Hicks talks about the vortex. It talks about the fact that everything that's happened in your life has created things that you want and has created this vortex around you that has everything in it that you wanted. Every time you shot up what they call a rocket of desire, it lands in your vortex. It gets created immediately. You've just got to line up with that thing, and then that will actually start manifesting in your life. That's what we want to do during the meditation. We want to start connecting with that vortex that actually has everything that we already have that's available to us, that we've already created, that we just need to bring into our reality now. So here's what most people do wrong during meditation. They will sit, they will try to quiet their mind, and they will try to focus on either their breathing or they will focus on what they want to try and create. Again, that is the wrong thing. If you try to quiet your mind, you are fighting an uphill battle. Unless you've done years and years of healing work where you've actually been able to clear out all of that stuff, you're not ever going to quiet your mind. Not for a long time. And those meditations can be an hour and a half. So you are never going to win that battle. So here's what you do instead. You have to find the part of you that exists outside of the 3D reality. You have to go bigger than your current physical world. How do we do that? There's actually two ways. And whichever way is right for you is going to be very dependent on how you operate. So if you are an internal processor where you like to think about things yourself and work it out yourself, you tend to go inwards. If you're an external processor where you prefer to talk to other people about things, you will go outwards. So what we want to figure out is we want to go figure out whether we go in or out, but the process is the same. And here's where the science comes in. In everything that exists in our physical world, every single atom has only 1% physical matter. 99% of every single atom that exists in this physical reality is empty space, or in other words, pure potentiality. It's that 99% of space that holds everything that we want and that we have created already through our minds, through our imagination, through our desires. That's what we want to tap into. We don't want to tap into our thoughts or our brain or even our imagination at that point in time. We've already created what we want. We now need to pull into that and connect into that piece. So if you're an internal processor, the way that you do that is you sink into yourself. You go as deep into who you are as you can. I like to think about it almost like there's a part of you that sits right at the core of you. And when you go through all the layers of your body, you go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, and you sink deeper and deeper in. And it almost is like you're peeling off all the layers of your physical body, and you go until you get to that really core point. For most people can be the heart. For me, it's the still point, just below the heart. And when I sink into that spot, it's like everything around me just disappears. There is no anything out there anymore. There's just that really deep space where nothing exists. No life, no people in my life, no job, bills, any of that. It doesn't exist. All that exists is that space. that pure potential. And that's the space that you want to be in during the meditation. The words are going to wash over you. It actually doesn't matter what the words say. You don't have to listen to them. You have to tap into that potentiality that exists well beyond your life. And it works the same when you go up or out. You want to go to a space that doesn't exist here in this physical world. You want to tap into that 0 point field. You've probably heard everybody talk about the 0 point field. That is exactly what we're talking about. It's the point where everything and nothing exists. And when you reach that space, you don't think. There is no you to think. There is only everything that has ever existed. So we have to get out of our physical bodies. We have to detach ourselves from what we think we want to create. And this is where Alan Watts comes in. Detachment. When we are truly detached from how we see our lives, what we think the outcome needs to be, we can actually call in something that's much, much bigger. And this is what we're looking for during the meditation. We're looking for information to come to us. We don't go looking for it. When we clear the space, we allow ourselves to drop all of those old thoughts, beliefs, ideas that we have about what our life should look like. And when we drop that, we actually allow something to pop in. This is why quieting our mind is not the right thing either. Because when we allow something to come in, when it's the right thing, we want that thought because that's what gives us inspiration. That's what gives us the aha moment, that moment where we feel alive, where we feel we've now connected to something so much bigger than us. That's what we're looking for. So meditation isn't just about sitting quietly and allowing our mind to calm. That's a great relaxation technique, but that is not going to create any new results in your life. So that is what you're looking for during the meditation. Let yourself go. Let yourself be put in the back seat. Allow yourself to step into the unknown. This is the safe way of connecting with the unknown, with the space where nothing exists. And how do you know that you've connected with that? Well, here is what to look for after the meditation. Most people, when they connect into that deep space, they will actually have negative things show up in their life after the meditation. And they will panic and they'll think, I've done something wrong. Either it will be a feeling of not quite feeling right about something, or something in the person's life doesn't feel good anymore, or it will actually be a negative situation that shows up. That is a sign that the meditation has worked, not the other way. Why do I say that? Because when you connect into a potential that is right for you, that potential wants to come into your life. But if there are barriers in place for that piece to come into your life, it is going to show you those barriers. That is a good thing because it will allow you to start working then on shifting those barriers. This is where we can do belief clearing. This is where we can clear things out of the Akashic records. This is where we can shift unconscious beliefs that you don't even realize you're holding onto. So that is exactly what you want. It is not a sign that something is going wrong. It is actually a sign that you're moving in the right direction. So when something shows up, that is telling you here is something in the way of achieving that goal that has come to you, that is ready to come to you. There is something in the way. look at this, address this. And when you address that, it actually allows you to allow whatever it is that you are tapping into to flow to you. Because remember, we've already created it. We don't need to then go out and create it. We will have synchronicities, we'll have signs, we'll have inspiration that you can then act on. So it's not about sitting around doing nothing, but it will give you something that's actually quite easy to do. It won't give you something incredibly difficult that you then have to go and create. It will give you the inspiration. It will give you the access point that says, oh, yes, now this is what I've got to do. And take action. It's a really quick action to take. And that will open up the next step and the next step and the next step. Unless there are those roadblocks. And the roadblocks are saying, aha, here's something for you to fix. And then when you fix that, it will start flowing. So I hope this has given you a very different perspective on what meditation really is all about. It is about getting bigger than yourself. It is about stepping outside of the confines and the limitations of your past. But it's not just about sitting there and quieting your mind and getting relaxed. It's about tapping in to that field where all possibilities exist. It's about tapping into what is actually available through your soul. This is about that communion with your soul, getting to know your soul. And the more you do, the more you'll start to live from that place all the time. You won't need to go into meditation to reach that point anymore. It will exist all around you, with you, in you, every single day. And that is truly what this work is all about. It's not about sitting in the meditation every single day for an hour. It's about starting to live from that place and being able to communicate with your soul in a way that it guides you. It shows you where to go every single step of the way. And then we know we are truly guided and on our path. So I really hope this has given you some new insights into those meditations. And I'd love to get your comments below and any questions that you have about this. And please do share with somebody that you think might be interested. And if you haven't done so already, please consider joining me by clicking that subscribe button. And in the meantime, thanks for joining me, and I will see you in the next one.